How is everyone today? Hope you had a great weekend. Dave here from Informed American, back here on this Monday, asking you a question. How should governments respond to the push to remove statues and monuments? And of course, we've seen all around the country, sweeping the country, pulling down statues, sometimes defacing them with graffiti, or in one case, decapitating a statue of Columbus. Of course, the big targets have been Confederate monuments and of those and former slave owners, particularly all throughout the South. Another big target has been Christopher Columbus. They grabbed him, the statue, I believe, in Richmond, Virginia, also in Minneapolis, and probably countless other places. And Thomas Jefferson, most recently, on Portland High School, named after Jefferson. They took the statue down off the monument. So that it's been targeted in some cases, but in other cases it's been indiscriminate. We saw some examples of even abolitionists in a couple of cases getting theirs either pulled down or defaced. Also in Boston, the 54th Massachusetts Regiment for the Civil War, which was an all-black regiment. It's a huge monument right in front of the old State House. That one was full of graffiti being defaced. So it is not just targeted towards specific people, but almost everything. It's sort of an anarchist kind of a thing, a bit of just kind of burn the whole thing down kind of a mentality. And this has spread to Europe. This has spread to Europe. We saw it in England and pulling down a couple different statues and defacing monuments. The same thing going on. And Winston Churchill has been a potential target. And in London, they actually built these big boxes right around the statue so they wouldn't be harmed. And it's just a question of what should be done about it. And there's also now that it's going to Gandhi. That's another one. Here's a story out of InformedAmerican.com. Look out, Gandhi protesters take aim at famous nonviolent man's statue. And the statue of here. The story continues. A statue of the story says rather, a statue of famously nonviolent Gandhi, who led the Indian uprising against British rule, sits in the city of Leicester, England. Protesters are now demanding that the statue be removed because while Gandhi is known around the world for leading protests, he was also reportedly very critical of black Africans when he lived in South Africa. And finishing here, while people can judge for themselves if they agree or not, whether or not they agree with removing the statues, at least the protesters are taking the legal path. And here's the point, I think is my opinion here before I get to your comments about the story below about President Macron from France, saying they've started a petition to officially remove the memorial instead of tearing it down. So far, they've gathered 5,000 signatures. And this is my take here, is that nothing has to exist in permanence, but we don't submit to a mob. That's my stance. If you want to remove something, then I think that you have to do it in the right way, which, in my opinion, is to go through do a petition. Have say a city council or some local government vote on it with the public having a chance to weigh in, and then if the majority wants it removed, fine, remove it. But this whole thing of we're just gonna rip it all down kind of a thing, or we're just gonna, what are we going to do? We're just, no one's going to protect it. That's the thing. I mean, a lot of these city governments are just sort of sitting idly by as protesters go in and just sort of do what they want. And I think that's no good. I mean, of course, maybe when your city is burning, you can't turn attention to the statues. But I think you need to go through have some sort of a proper channel. Look, if you want to remove it, fine, no big deal. But vote on it. That's how I feel. So the story here that a lot of you have commented on also, I want to bring your attention to from InformedAmerican.com, just below this video, in fact. Francis Macron says no to removing statues, erasing history. So he made a statement here just talking about how these protesters are sweeping into Europe, and now the worry is, will they go to, in historic France and start ripping them down as well. The president says, I will be very clear tonight, compatriots. The Republic won't erase any name from its history. It will forget none of its artworks. It will not take down statues. So the president of France taking a very strong stance in a bit in contrast to what we're seeing around the world. But you all had a lot of comments about this, and also on the subject of the question that I posed to you all: how should governments respond to the push to remove statues and monuments? We've got a couple of comments. Priscilla Hume says they are vandals and should go to jail. Phil Svets with force. Then I want to get to the comments here from your comments on the Macron story. K. Mars says, good for him. Where are our Republicans on this? Absent as usual. But just wait a couple of more months and we get their promises again about what they will do. Well, you better get your butts behind Trump and actually help him on occasion. Yeah, well, one point, Kay, though, is most of these cities, it's not that often where a city government will be Republican-led, so maybe it's just not under their control. But I may be wrong about that. KM Gray says, right on, God bless you. That's the Macron. Vera Spar says, at least he has some brains. Mike Brown says, rebuild everyone that was removed. Bonnie Arbit says, good for him. It's time someone with sense said no. Michelle Berry says, destroying monuments is the first thing that invaders do. Gail Black, good for him. Finally, somebody with the balls to say no, not kiss ass. Gail, thanks for commenting. Gail, I noticed you're a very frequent commenter, so I want to give a little shout out to you and a thank you. Christine Casey says, amen. Delinda Pitts, bless your heart. Joyce Palmer, fantastic. And then this continues on and on and on. And Hall, many of you are thinking, are congratulating President Macron for taking that strong stance. And last comment I'll read is, Hall led a Charlie, wish our leaders were that smart. So far seems all we have are cowardly idiots running the country. We need to remove them and put in some redneck hunters. Oh, strong words there. So many of you do not want to see. We do not want to see these monuments, these statues get defaced or pulled down. And to that I agree, with the caveat that, look, if you do want to put these things down, at least put it up to a vote. So I want to thank all of you for watching and commenting, and to remind you to head on over to informedamerican.com, where you can subscribe to real smart news every day by heading over to the site and sharing your email with us, and we will send you a newsletter every single day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.